name is Dennis Sproul. If you've been involved in an accident, call me and I'll fight for you. I'm not an actor or a celebrity spokesperson. I'm a real trial lawyer, and I'll appear before real judges and real juries on behalf of people with serious injuries. So when I say I'll fight for you, I mean it, and I'll back it up. If you've been hurt in an automobile or 18-wheeler accident, contact me toll free at 866-529-2444, and I'll fight for your rights.
Think about this, Jeff, man. This is the same culture that allowed, how many was it, 120 million blacks to be kidnapped from the west coast of Africa and brought all the way over to this new world. Right. And we still here 400, 500, 6 years later, no help from our brothers in that. This is the same culture. Like what we still have the same disunity.
Are in LA.
Okay. All right. So here, bro, why is that bad if it benefits them?
Because they came together to.
Why is that bad if it benefits them?
This is what
they're doing it because it benefits them.
Because it says African Americans, it specifically mentions us because we were getting resource streams after the civil rights movements and the money was going to us. They decided to not be white no more.
Okay, great. That benefits them. You don't get what I'm trying to say. Why are we mad at them for doing what benefits them?
Because that was a move against us. They were like, hey, these black people get money.
Why are you mad at them for doing what benefits them?
I'm not mad at them for that, but we should do the same thing and on some op shit.
There we go. So take your answer, brother. And you know what that means? That's what I've been saying this whole time. Unity. Don't worry about what they're doing. You focus on unifying yourself. See, all this complaining about what the next man is doing that benefits him, that's not taking us any steps further. But she's not going to have any access to that 800 million. Now, she probably was getting $1 million a month from her husband. I can't see how he didn't have $1 million. Here's a black card, baby. Go do what you do. But so now she's in a situation where, damn, I'm about to lose everything because I had a miscalculation. And that's where the old saying go, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. That's old brother saying. So she tried to be a hog and now she's about to get slaughtered. You see what I'm saying, bro? So, you know, that's unfortunate, but I don't feel sorry for Dr. Dre. I feel sorry for the guy that's making $15,000 working at Sam's Club or Walmart, who has 2 kids by a woman who has 3 other kids, and he the only one paying child support, and his child support goes to paying all these other kids. That's the one I feel sorry for. Well, I've been practicing law going on 21 years now, licensed in Texas, Louisiana, Illinois, and New York. I'm also licensed to practice in several federal courts and the United States Supreme Court, along with the Fifth Circuit, U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I started off at Grambling State University. I went to Southern University for law school, graduated in 2000, took the bar July 2000, scored a perfect score. And then when I went on to Tulane University Law Center, where I got an LLM in environmental and energy related law. My love has always been tort law, environmental law. I started off wanting to be a biologist. Well, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Then I kind of said, I don't know about that. After they had me dissecting rats. So I'm like, I think I'll stick to the lawyer stuff. But either way, you know, I enjoy what I do. I practice personal injury law in Texas, mostly Texas and Louisiana. And recently, since 2017, I've been heavily involved in environmental tort litigation here in Houston.
traumatization.
After a car wreck, you may have to fight with a highly trained insurance company rep whose job is to knock your damaged claim down and out. It's a bad idea to enter the ring alone against a trained boxer, and it could be a bad idea to fight against a big insurance company by yourself. When the bell rings, attorney Dennis Sperling will be there to fight for your rights.
If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck, call me, attorney Dennis Sperling, at 866-529-2444. That's 866-529-2444. Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
And we got a lot of stuff going on politically. And the question that I presented today for brothers here is, this is my statement. Just because Trump has been voted out doesn't mean that the show is over. 70 million fervent followers voted for him in 2020, despite knowing all of his shortcomings. Trump is a symptom. He is a reflection of how nearly 1/2 of Americans feel. How does this affect Black men? Let's talk about it. And as the opening statement, it was 2021 and beyond. 70 million Trump voters aren't going anywhere. Look, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that 5 people have been shot and killed in Washington, D.C. As of now, related to the protest outside the Capitol building. One of them is this gentleman, Benjamin Phillips. He basically runs a Trump website, pro-Trump website called Trumparoo, where patriots can mobilize against the corrupt, communist, Marxist, scummy Democrats. Here's another one. We just learned avid Trump supporter Kevin Greeson, who regularly posted online about getting his guns and taking the country back, was one of the 4 people who died in the siege. It was 5 people who died in the siege of the Capitol. Post from Greeson wishing bad things to happen to Nancy Pelosi and identifying with the Proud Boys were found as well. So here's what I'm saying, fellas. You know, these guys, these people are not going anywhere. Because see, all that's going to happen is once these white folks, you know, nature's going to take its course, and 50, 100 years from now, this is going to be predominantly probably a Latino country. You see what I'm saying? You're going to still be mad? Because they do what
be mad thing. I mean, where are they? It's just another group of white folks.
They're going to do what benefits them. What are you going to do to benefit you? I can't be mad at Ariel or other Hispanics for doing what benefits them, bro. Slim told me this a long time ago, man, when I was a youngster, man. He's a hustler. Anybody who reads my book, he said, man, you never get mad at another man about his own stuff. I can't get mad about the Hispanic man for doing what's in his own benefit. Hey, I can't get mad at the white man for doing what's in his own benefit. You see what I'm saying? If I'm weak enough that what he does F's me over, that's my own damn fault.
I mean, it was on the sneak. This happened before I was born, bro. This was your generation, 1980s, the early 80s. It was.
Man, how old are you, bro? How old are you?
36, bro.
You 36. I'm 46. We the same age, bro.
I'm 48.
We the same age, Megatron. You a grown man. You're not a baby. You a grown man. We the same age. You understand what I'm saying? We're viable and living at the same age right now. It's just as much your responsibility as mine, brother. What advice do you have for black men who are, being shamed and people harassing them and stuff about, the wife that they choose, women they want to date? What's your advice to these brothers?
I mean, focus on your purpose. Like they need to keep their head down like you did and focus on their purpose, whatever that may be. I would say also try and get yourself into a situation where, you're free. You have a job that you can work online. So you can optimize your time doing other things or start another business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that should be your focus. The haters are always going to be there. They're not going to disappear. All right. And you just got to keep focused on your purpose and do you. I mean, we used to have that back in the day, right? Before, focus on yourself is just do you, and everything else should, iron itself out.
They didn't do. We won't pick sides. What we won't do is get ourselves involved in these sort of political skirmishes that have been going on between the two factions in this country for hundreds of years. What we need to do is take this opportunity to build our own infrastructure, deal with our own internal issues, and not get baited into Republican and Democratic talking points or conservative and liberal talking points. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to figure out who's going to be in control of these resources that the dominant society has taken from the rest of the world. It has nothing to do with us. And so when I see black folks picking sides, yeah, it's great. I don't care if you voted for Trump. I don't care if you voted for Biden. It doesn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, you're still a black person, especially you as black men. You as a black man, you need to focus on what you need to do. Make yourself a better person. Figure out what it is you need to enhance your position in this world right now. That's what you need to do. You don't need to get caught up into what Trump is doing. Oh my God, I can't believe that he needs none of your business. Nothing. Because as soon as they finish with them, they're gonna go right back to you.
Hi, my name is Dennis Berlin. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is. Yeah. If you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy. No need to scream and yell like a little kid. Yeah, no yelling. My daddy will fight for your rights. Yeah, fight for your rights. If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, returning Dennis Berlin.
Hello? I'm attorney Dennis Berlin. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
Dennis was called to participate on a panel to speak to that. And when Dennis' time came up, he said, no, I disagree with Lonnie Love. This is a very simple issue. She is too big to get the kind of men that she wants. It's that simple.
Real simple. Real simple. And anybody, I mean, is anybody willing to tell the emperor that he has no clothes on at this point? Like, who's going to stand up and just say, no, it's because you weigh like 350 pounds. That's why you can't get the men that you want. That's why you can't get these top-notch men that you want. You know, and nobody's willing to, you know, say that, man. And that's just unfortunate. But you know what? Part of being an adult is not being able to get everything you want.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
And unfortunately, a lot of these sisters, man, they feel like they're settling for a brother that works at the local Exxon plant that makes $120,000 a year. They think they're settling for a police officer up in New York that makes $180,000 a year. They think they're settling for a brother who's a school teacher or administrator making $80,000 a year. In their mind, they all deserve a 50 Cent. They all deserve a Barack Obama. They all deserve you name it, a Future. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
man, and you also brought up Trump. So I'm going to ask the question, the elephant in the room is, why is it that the recent polls are indicating that 25% of black men are set to vote for Donald Trump? He's a racist. He doesn't like anybody. He's mean. He's foggity. He lies. He's got a bunch of side women. He's a bad man, according to some of the cable news outlets. Why is it that black men are voting for Donald Trump or set to vote for Donald Trump, according to the latest polls or some of the polls, to the tune of 25%? Can you please explain that phenomenon? Whereas, by contrast, black women are still on the Democratic side and voting for them in the upper 90s. Can you, by your analysis, can you explain that to the audience?
Well, I'm thinking that black men are growing more and more frustrated with these left politicians, and they came out in 7% in 2016 for Donald Trump, and the number has increased because when they look at the cities that are run by Democrats, a lot of these black men are not seeing any sort of progress that benefits them. So they look at these Democrats and they're saying, I'm not getting what I need, especially working class, everyday black men out here. They're not seeing any sort of tangibles being offered to them by the Democratic Party. So a lot of them left us. And one of the things that led to a lot of them leaving in 2016 was the fact that we had all of these murders of black men, like Eric Garner, like Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, and your Barack Obama's Department of Justice did nothing in any of these cases. So these black men were sitting there hoping that the black president would provide them with justice, but the black president decided to blow off black men. And when he blew off black men, those black men decided to go to the other side. And now more and more of these black men are seeing some of these indirect benefits from a Trump presidency, because Trump's policies that deal with immigration actually lead to the indirect hiring of black men on jobs. And these black men are seeing that they can get employment, they can get economic footsteps that they couldn't get as related to the Obama presidency. And they're also seeing that the Trump administration has made a few little inroads here and there as related to trying to get justice for black men in some cases. Now, I'm not saying all cases, but we've seen in the case of the cases like George Floyd, we saw some action, I think, as related to that case. Whereas Barack Obama did nothing, his attorney general in the case of George Zimmerman practically ignored black people. And when he ignored black people and he did nothing about George Zimmerman, he basically created Donald Trump. And that's something people don't understand about Barack Obama. If it wasn't for his inaction on Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, Donald Trump wouldn't be in the White House today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
I will scream and I will holler. Then I'll scream and holler some more saying absolutely nothing.
You have a choice in legal representation. And in making that choice, do you want an attorney with a made-for-TV nickname to represent you in your serious car wreck claim?
I will growl, kick, and scream.
My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, contact me toll-free at 866-529-2444. The choice is yours. What's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling, and I'm happy to be here again today. I have a very interesting conversation that I want to share with you all. And I think that it's very important because what I've noticed is there are a lot of signs that not only is the manosphere growing, but it's becoming a threat. It's becoming a threat to the status quo. It's becoming a pariah for some. It's a money drain. It's competition, unwanted, unnecessary in their opinions. And so what I want to do is give you all the benefit of my insight. Now, the thing is, I want you all to understand that there are a lot of professionals here, and I don't come to you in the capacity as an attorney when I talk to you. You know, some of you guys affectionately call me Uncle D. And I'm not acting as a lawyer. I'm more, I would say, as a counselor or as an advisor, if you will. And I'm just trying to kind of tell you guys what's going on. You might remember several months back, I predicted that the clergy would eventually begin to come after the manosphere. And maybe a month or so after that, there was a pastor from Atlanta that attacked Minister Japp about his use of the term German Shepherd in reference to some of the lowly of the lovely ladies. And so, you know, I'm now telling you guys, and the other day I told you after I examined the attack by Creflo Dollar against the Manosphere's own Mr. Kevin Samuels, I predicted that the next up would be the Hollywood types, entertainers, actors, actresses, musicians. And there's a couple of more on top of that are going to begin to come from the Manosphere. But before we get started, I want to first make sure that you guys can hear me. I hope you can hear me. I hope you're having a pleasant day. Hit the #1 button if you can hear me. Also, please contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this attack is going to happen. Now, as far as myself, the way, and many of us had many different ways in how we migrated to the Manosphere. I was writing my books. I started writing my books back in 2011. After I finished the first draft, or I believe I might have been halfway through the first draft, I had questions. You know, I had lots of questions. And so I began to listen to Dr. John Henry Clark, who was somebody I studied when I was in college and before. And that led me to, because I had some issues about Black history and I wanted to kind of get my context down. And so that led me to Tariq Nasheed, because he was somehow associated with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller. I think they had worked together on some of his Hidden Color movies. And I just found him hilarious. I'm like, man, this guy is funny. And I actually ended up buying one of his books. I think it was called The Art of Macking.
And I just like, man, this guy's funny. And then I'd seen him a couple of times. And so Tariq Nasheed, I would listen to him in my while I was working out at the gym back when I didn't have my own gym. And, you know, somehow I guess I was recommended to go to one of the MGTO guys. I think his name was Angry MGTO. And I'm like, oh my God. So I end up listening to that guy for a while. And then that one led me to the MGTO. And of course, these are white manosphere guys. That led me to Sandman. And then Sandman, the MGTOW, mentioned BGS Ibmore. And BGS Ibmore, at that time, he and Obsidian were having a back and forth. And so that led me to Obsidian. And once I started listening to BGS Ibmore and Obsidian, you know, I'm like, I like the intellectual level. I like the delivery. Those were the good old days. That was probably 2015 or something like that. And so I began to listen. And then, of course, I got tuned into some of the other gentlemen, Turd Flinging Monkey, I believe his name is, and some of the other ones, the more entertaining of them. And so I just began to listen, and it became my pastime. Instead of listening to music or the radio while I was working out, I would listen to these guys. And so I think at some point I know around 2018, I heard Minister Jap and I forget the brothers, Alpha Male Strategies, and I've heard of Coach Greg Adams, just guys talking to young guys about, you know, women in life. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool, you know, and I would just listen, and just like many of you, I just became a fan listening, you know. And so, you know, it wasn't always just about women. Sometimes it was like about political. I think the thing that captivated me the most were the speeches that BGS gave related to the economy. And I'm like, wow, this guy, he sees it coming. I can see it coming too, because my stockbroker and my other advisors were telling me the same thing, you know. And so here's this guy who I didn't know where BGS was from at the time or much about him, but he's like, this guy is saying some of the same things that my guys are saying, you know, and I pay them a whole lot of money to come up with these answers for me. And so either way, that's kind of those ones, specifically BGS and Obsidian, were the ones that really kind of got me hooked on the manosphere, because they were deep and intellectual. Now, some people I had to search for. I had to search for I forget the brother's name, but he's an Afro-Latino man, and he is one of the he is the one, I believe, the first one to say refer to it as red pill, or talk about, I forget the brother's name, but he's credited with being one of the founders of the manosphere. I forget his name. Oh my God, I cannot believe I can't remember his name now, but I listened to him a couple of times. You know, his was a lot more esoteric. But, you know, back in the teens, you know, 2015 through 18, 19, 20, I was like, this is really good stuff. I remember one point I was sitting at my house, Obsidian, Barbarossa. That's exactly right. Thank you, LOM. Barbarossa was his name. Right. I listened to Barbarossa a couple of times, you know, and those guys were making a lot of sense. You guys keep mentioning Angry Man, but I don't know Angry Man. I do know LAR Movement. I do know him. I've listened to him a couple of times. I don't know Angry Man. I don't know all the people that you guys know, you know, but the ones that I do know, I listen to them intently. Minister Jap is one of my favorites. You know, he's one of my favorites because I just find him, he's funny, he's personable, he's got this gregarious attitude. He's the guy you want to listen to at the party or in the room. He's the one that you want to listen to because he's funny, you know, and and a lot of you guys, you know, you get mad at him for hurting your feelings, but that's funny too. You know, you shouldn't let him. If I were your father, I'm like, you shouldn't let your cousin hurt your feelings like that. Okay, go back there and say something bad about him. I know of Tommy Sotomayor. I've never really listened to him that intently, but I have heard a couple of his shows. I don't know. I don't know why I want to say he predates the modern manosphere, but I do remember he was very outspoken about certain issues related to Black and female, but I haven't quite listened to Mr. Sotomayor. But oh my God, the one guy, something happened, and I end up listening to what's the white? Oh my God, the Greek guy who had the show back in the 2000 early 90s. Who's the Greek guy? What's his name? Obsidian always talks about him. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But I listened to him a bunch of times. What's the guy's name? That the Greek guy? He's been married a bunch of times. He had the radio show, and then he went on broadcast. He started broadcasting over and over again. I think he's actually back. Tom Likas is his name. So I began to listen to Tom Likas, and then I began to understand the manosphere and where guys were coming from. Ironically, I remember Tom Likas when I was young because he had a show, and I mean, it was beyond my level of understanding at that point because I didn't really have any experience. But I do remember him in Southern California. I remember his show, and it had to be in the 90s, I believe, in Southern California. And I remember his show, and I remember he was controversial. And Jackie said he's not Greek, he's Lithuanian. Okay, I get it. But the name seems Greek, but that's fine. Yeah, no problem. This is how I became immersed in the manosphere. So I've been listening for about 7 years now. And so I've watched the change and I've watched the trend. And it used to be a little secret that guys had. You would listen to it when your girlfriend wasn't looking. You know, nobody knew about it. And, you know, red pill was a term that, you know, people really didn't understand. But that is not the case now, almost a decade later. For nearly a decade, Black men have been able, and it's not just white guys anymore. With the onset of people like Kevin Samuels, who has 1 million+ followers, and the dialogue, the talking points, and Mr. Samuels has mastered the talking points. He's a culmination of Obsidian, BGS Ibmore, and so many others that, and because these talking points have been mulled around and refined in the manosphere on YouTube for so many years, it's very difficult for the people who haven't been exposed to them to combat them. And so what are they doing? Well, they're rising. It's beginning to affect the social discourse. Marriage is down, marriage is down, and there's a reason for it. Relationships are down, there's a reason for it. Along with Me Too, then you also have guys who are red pill who have realized, as Barbarossa says, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. A couple of my television appearances back in 2018 and 2019, you can see how I use some of that rhetoric that comes from the manosphere. So I've been breaking, you know, because I operate in both worlds. I operate on YouTube, which is a recent thing. And then I also operate, you know, on television with my television shows and my frequent appearances on Fox. I'm able to do what? You know, I'm able to break and see what people's response is. And typically they don't have a response because they haven't developed any responses because they've been ignoring you. And that's what's going on. But now what's going to happen is, fellas, the Black manosphere is going to be under attack. The attack is coming. If you don't know it now, they're already at the staging ground, and they're going to begin to attack your favorite manosphere personalities Most likely your Black manosphere personalities, and I'll explain why your Black manosphere personalities are going to be the first up. But let me go ahead and begin my conversation, and I have a very detailed analysis for everybody. Before we get started, I want to make sure I acknowledge 3 gentlemen. Thank you, Joseph Jones. He said, thank you for your channel. And then Randall, thank you so much. He says, thank you, Uncle D. Who else? Mac Dre, love that name. That's the rapper from back in the day in the Bay Area. Mac Dre, I believe, or Mac Mall, probably Mac Dre. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing here, please contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Now, here's the thing I want you guys to understand. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not here to speak to you and make you comfortable and tell you things you want to hear. Many of you have had an issue with some things that I've said in the past, and I know you would. But you should be wary of the people who tell you what you want to hear all the time. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear all the time. I'm going to speak to you in a truthful manner, in an honest manner, and I'm going to tell you what needs to be said. That is somebody who really cares about you. People that let you just go off on the deep end, and as the girls say, as the ladies say, you go girl, and they see you walking over a cliff. Those are not really people that care about you. I care about you. I enjoy the Black manosphere. I enjoy the fact that Black men now have an unfiltered voice to be able to speak. You don't have to worry about somebody cutting and editing what you said. People can hear you it in its entirety right here. All you need to do is be a person that can open a YouTube channel, and the people like to hear what you have to say, then they will. But let's go ahead and get started. You guys hit the number 1 button if you can hear me, and make sure you check in. I want to know where everybody's checking in from. I'd like to know that sometimes. I know we get a lot of people during the midday. We get a lot of people from overseas checking in. So for nearly a decade, Black men have been able to communicate in relative secrecy on YouTube. All right. You know that, right? It reminded me of the underground hip hop venues from back in the late 90s. Now, just like those rappers, you've been discovered by the mainstream. How did it happen? As always, the Black manosphere was infiltrated by women who were appalled by the rhetoric. And then they came with the shaming, and they began you were shamed for your espousing your red pill messages. Then came the rescue squad to save the damsels in distress. And that comprised of the blue pill simps, the manginas, the white knights, the girl dads, the Captain Saber 304s, the male attack drones. They called you names and attempted to bully you and beat you back into conformity. All of them fail at this level of and so now at this level, you're going to meet the power structure that holds the keys to society. You've disturbed the social discourse with your male empowerment talking points. And so those who have held sway over society are threatened, and they will begin to attack you. The big bosses only from here on out. Kevin Samuels bore the brunt of the initial onslaught because he presents the biggest and brightest, he's the biggest and brightest rising star in the Black manosphere. Moreover, the audience he has captured, Black American women, drive the culture and the social discourse, which placed him on their radar. First, the Black clergy attacked Minister Japp, and then most recently, Pastor Creflo Dollar dedicated an entire sermon to Kevin Samuels' message. Soon thereafter, several major publications printed and circulated the Run Girl article, an alleged woman on a coffee date having had her conversation overheard by a passerby. He then passed her a note and said, "Run Girl." He supports Kevin Samuels, and this came from a nearby patron. Apparently, the conversation led the Run Girl to research Mr. Kevin Samuels, who is described in an article by Ben Cost the author of the New York Post article, as a YouTube dating guru who reportedly urged his male followers to make misogynist and even violent comments towards women. Those of us who listen to Mr. Kevin Samuels know that these allegations are spurious at best. Nevertheless, this is the runway that those in charge of the social discourse are paving for the Black manosphere when it lands in the mainstream. Those who are threatened by the rise of the Black manosphere have every intention on fighting back and using extreme prejudice. Those names include the clergy, the news media, Hollywood, actors, musicians, entertainers, and athletes, and finally the politicians and lawmakers. For those of you in the Black manosphere, for those of you who love that Black manosphere, and those of you in the Black manosphere, your idols will become your rivals. Are you ready? This is a changing of the guard. Many of you are vulnerable and have something to hide and will more likely than not disappear. However, those of you who are prepared and can weather the initial onslaught and sustain will be rewarded with money, social influence, and political sway. What we are going to discuss now is how the members of the Black manosphere should prepare to rise. So that's my opening. I like to go ahead and commence now. Big shout out to Volcanus. Thank you very much. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you this article, this terrible article written by Ben Cost, who I'm going to show you this gentleman, Mr. Ben Cost. Those of you who aren't aware, I'm going to see if I can pull this information up for you so you can just take a look at this gentleman. Give me 1 second. And I hope you all are having a great day, by the way. All righty. Who is Ben Cost? 1 second. So he's writing a lot of articles and stuff like that, but I just want you to take a look at it. Images. Hard to find, right? I'll find a picture of him at some point, but always good to know who the writers are so you can begin to put a profile with them. I think this is Ben Cost here. This guy right here is Ben Cost of the New York Post, from what I understand. And he was the one who wrote this article. So let's go ahead and examine the article that he wrote. A woman's date night in Virginia took a wild turn when a stranger passed her a note telling her to run from her companion because of too many red flags. Her description of the bizarre warning amassed thousands of likes on Twitter before the gal locked her account, the Daily Mail reported. The now hidden tweet posted over the weekend by a user, I'm not going to say the girl's name, recounted how the rendezvous started innocently enough as she joined the man for a coffee date, right? What does that tell you? He's going on a coffee date with this woman, right? So that tells you this guy has definitely been listening to the manosphere, because what's one of the first things guys do now instead of taking him on those expensive dates? So we see how the rhetoric and the philosophy from the Black manosphere has begun to affect society. You got guys who are saying, yeah, I'm not spending all that money on these dates. I'm going to take you on a coffee date and we'll see how that goes. Right? So who does that affect? It affects somebody's pocketbook. It definitely affects the restaurant industry and the entertainment industry on that level, because instead of going to dinner and a movie, you're spending $15 on some coffee. So begin to understand the motivation behind these folks, right? So let's continue. However, when her date got up to go to the bathroom, the gay guy sitting behind her passed her a note scribbled on the back of a CVS receipt. The woman recalled, an accompanying photo shows the message which cautioned to too many red flags, run, be safe, girl. Now, let me tell you this. I don't necessarily know if this is true or not. I don't necessarily know if this article was made up out of whole cloth or not. How are we supposed to know? But what we do know is that this is what's said. The Shutter Island-esque incident has made waves on Twitter, with many users imploring Hadiya to divulge more details of the date. Now I'm going to do this. I don't want her face showing up on my page. So what I'm going to do is just slide past that part and go back to the written language so we can deal with that. Many Twitter users asked this lady to divulge more details of the date, specifically with regard to the red flags in question. Hadiya has since obliged in a series of follow-up tweets. One of the warning signs she recounted was that the two didn't see eye to eye on the recent scandal involving rapper DaBaby. Okay, so I'm assuming they're referring to DaBaby basically saying things that go against the LGBT agenda, and they're saying this sparked outrage earlier this month over homophobic remarks, although she didn't specify which side she took on the issue, right? Another involved the mystery man's alleged support of Kevin Samuels. Okay, so now you got the New York Post mentioning Kevin Samuels, right? He's a manosphere person, a black manosphere person in particular, a YouTube dating guru. And this is how they don't refer to him as a image consultant. They refer to him as a YouTube dating guru who reportedly urged his male followers. Okay, this is what they're saying in here. Now, this is borderline slander, libel, and I'd have to analyze this a little bit more. But look what they say. This is printed in here. Reportedly urges his male followers. He urges his male followers to make misogynistic and even violent comments towards women. Now, it doesn't say this woman says this. It says that this is written by, this is his opinion of what Mr. Kevin Samuels urges his male followers to do. Now, those of us who listen to Kevin Samuels know absolutely well that that is not what he asked anybody to do. I've never heard him say anything of the sort. To urge violent comments towards women, even violent comments towards, what is a violent comment? You see, but they wanted to throw that in there, okay? The reason they have to throw that in there because it goes with the shtick. It goes with the stereotype that black men are violent. That's what this is about. Just saying misogynist comments is one thing, but even violent comments towards women. See, here's the thing. He is playing on people's mental. You're not reading this. He's basically trying to make you think that Mr. Samuels is urging violence against women. He didn't write that, but you see that, you read through that, and that's what sticks in your brain. Violence. Then you see women. Violence towards women, not violent comments towards it. You just read it. And so this is dangerous, but this is how they're going to play, fellas, members of the Black Manosphere. So I want you guys to tag all of your Black Manosphere favorites and make sure they see this. If they can do this to Kevin Samuels, who's a really nice guy, a really calm guy, really patient, educated, great father, imagine what they're going to do to some of the more aggressive members of the Black Manosphere. So let's continue. However, despite recognizing the red flags early on, this lady said she ultimately decided against aborting the date as she wanted to debate Mr. Wrong on the issues they disagreed on. She recognized that her inaction likely didn't sit well with her note passing protector, joking in a subsequent tweet, "I'm sure my guardian angel was exhausted and was like, bitch, leave." Nonetheless, Hadia insists that the words of warning were greatly appreciated and added some laughs to my night, adding that there won't be a second date. Suffice to say, the impromptu dating advice split social media, with many seconding the Samaritan's message. Run, please. He's probably in a group that chat rating you on a scale of 1 to 10. One ride or die supporter wrote, Kevin Samuels fan is 100% a red flag. So Kevin Samuels of the Black Manosphere has entered into the public lexicon. He is mainstream, right? And Perfect Blackness said, the slander Kevin Samuels has never urged violence against women, never. I hope he sues. Yeah, I hope Mr. Samuels seriously considers that, but see, the thing is, it's not over. We're just getting started. But I want to kind of lay this out because I want you guys to see this as a real conversation. And I'm just trying to get those of you who will ready. All right, because we got police officers, professors, they got lawyers. We have all sorts of people who are professionals who are on this, and they will find everybody's got a different combination, you see. And I just want to lay the foundation real quick, okay? And so we'll get to that in a minute. However, others thought Hadia was unfairly condemning her date for having different opinions. So because he had his own opinion about people's subjects, which didn't directly align or better yet comply with yours, he personally strikes you as toxic, one skeptic. Now they threw that in there to kind of feign balance. You know, this is the damage is done up here. You see, this was a hit piece on Kevin Samuels. Has nothing to do with this young lady and her tweet. This is a hit piece on Kevin Samuels. That's what this is. It's a hit piece on the Black Manosphere. We espouse a lot of toxic according to the mainstream media. We're out of conformity. Toxic masculinity, anti-LGBT rhetoric. I'm sure this is a hit piece. We're messing with their money. Okay. This isn't the first time Samaritan has used a well-timed note to warn women of potential wackadoo. They're referring to him as a wackadoo, right? They're missed. In June, the vigilante Florida bartender saved 2 women from being hit on by a creepy customer by passing them a note disguised as. If you guys may recall, this has happened before. They had some bartender in Florida say, "Hey, would you like you want me to call the bouncers? We can get rid of him, get rid of that guy." So you basically got a white knight coming in here trying to save these women. And then you got a white knight of the LGBT community coming in to do what he considered saving this woman. Now, see, here's the problem. It's not just this article, okay? This article has been replicated, and it is also in Newsweek. Woman handed note by fellow diner while first date, okay? And so this is the guy that wrote this one. So now you got this guy here, not that guy. So you got a Ben Cost on one side and a Jack Burrisford on the other side writing this same article, okay? Woman described the moment she was handed a note by a complete stranger while out on a date, warning her to run. She shared her experience on Twitter. I had coffee with a guy yesterday. When we went to the bathroom, the gay guy sitting behind me passed me this note. The note handed her was short and point. Too many red flags. He warned, run, girl. The note is unclear. Her tweet is accompanied by a mixture of laughing and crying emoji. So this is a tweet. In fact, the date continued until the young lady realized the stranger's misgivings about the man she Was meeting proved correct? Honestly, she tweeted, honestly, it wasn't that bad until after he came out the bathroom. Everything he said after the note was a major red flag. Hadia tweet evidently struck a chord. She has been retweeted 36,000 times and liked over 364,000 times. So this is what we're dealing with, right? You know, again, there's a mention of the baby, Kevin Samuels. Here they even go even deeper into the rhetoric. In the past, he gained attention and the followers with the YouTube videos featuring the likes of, do modern women want more than they deserve? Ladies, the older you get, the less you get. And do you high value men deserve to cheat? So what you're seeing is just, this is something that would make any woman's panties, especially this would make any woman's panties just bunch up. Oh, what do you mean the high value men deserve to cheat? Oh, that's the ultimate, you know, whatever. And of course, your average at best. What this lets you know is people at Newsweek, people at the Post, the New York Post, they're watching, right? That's what they're doing. They're watching, right? And so what does that do? It lets me know that we're members of the Black Manosphere are on the radar. Okay, that's where we are. I know. And so some of you guys are in an uproar because you're like, we know what Kevin Samuels, I've never ever heard him say anything like that. Never made a comment. I mean, look at the way this is worded though, right? Look at the way this is worded. This is inflammatory, right? But I believe he gave himself just enough leeway to get out of it, right? Look what he said. I'm going to read this. Kevin Samuels, a YouTube dating guru, dating guru who reportedly urged his male followers to make misogynistic and even violent comments. I don't know what a violent comment is. A violent comments towards women. And so what that does is it evokes a response. Oh, we have to protect our women. You see, so it brings the white knight out in everybody, and nobody wants to side with the guy who's, you know, evoking violent comments. And where did he come from? You see? And oh, he's one of those Black Manosphere guys. So here's the thing. This is where we are, right? Again, my role, I'm not acting as a lawyer. I'm just acting as an advisor. Consider me something like a consigliere, you know. And so what I've done, because I've been in this, I've had television shows, I've been on television. I've already spilled the tea on myself. What does that mean? You guys talk about spilling the tea, right? Are you guys still with me? Hit the #1 button. Let me make sure. I want to bore. Is this boring? If I'm boring you guys to death, you know, this is more like a strategy session. This is what I'm doing. It's a strategy session. And I hope you guys, if you truly love the Black Manosphere and you love your favorite Black Manosphere personalities, then you have to protect them. Okay, so hit the #1 button. Let me know you're here. Hit the #1 button. Let me know if you appreciate this. What I've done in preparation, you know, even back in beginning 2011, you know, after I got a divorce, and what I understand is that people always go back and dig your past up. So what do? You know, you try to make lemons, you try to turn lemons into lemonade. So what have I done? I've turned my past into a money-making endeavor, right? Because, I mean, why just expose? This is what most people do. You write a book. You write 3 books. Those of you guys who've read my books, the books turned out to be real good. People like them. You can get them online. They're on Amazon. All of my so-called skeletons in the closet, right down to the fact that I just met my biological father 8 or 9 years ago, is in there. You know, the fussing and fighting I did with my ex-wife, it's all in here. You know, the things I learned, all of that is in there. Most embarrassing moments, it's all in there, you see? And so what that's done is no new secret. All you're going to do is help me sell books if you spill the tea on me. So I spilled the tea on myself. What that does is it makes me a hard target. And I'm talking about me, attorney Dennis Sperling. Here's another thing I've done. I've personally insulated myself through contacts. First of all, I live a pretty normal life, but kind of like Meyer Lansky, I'm surrounded by powerful people that owe me favors. Why? Because I've helped them get to the positions that they want to get to. Not because I've smiled at them, not because I've shaken their hands and told them how wonderful a person they are, but I've financially helped them get to where they are. They would call me a friend. What you have to understand is that you need to make your friends before you need them. Your friends and your allies should come before you ascend to wealth and power, because once you get to that point, it's going to cost you a lot more. Okay. And so this is something that I've done, and I've been doing it for decades. The type of human being I am, the type of person I am. Even on my page, I only go so far. You don't hear me cursing people out and calling them names, because see, what will happen is they'll take the worst of you. They'll take your worst video ever where you're, squishing kittens in the middle of a highway in front of a bunch of elementary school kids and screaming bloody murder. And they'll put that up as as who you are, right? This is what they'll do to you. And then they'll pitch that to the world as this is who this guy is. We told you. And they'll put your worst face forward, and then you have to begin to live that down. And so, what you have to do is you have to understand that you're going to need friends to help you protect from things like that. I'm insulated. Why? Because I've made friends. How did I make friends? I've given my friends what they needed. Some people need a campaign contribution. Some people need a letter of recommendation. There was a young man on here maybe a year ago. He said, I'm going to law school. I said, when you make it, you make sure you call me. I'll write your letter of recommendation. Something as small as that, giving to people, has helped me become insulated, because my friends want to see me succeed. Like Meyer Lansky, all of the gangsters that got killed, he wasn't, because he kept making money for his friends. And so that's kind of like the role I am. There's never been anybody who hasn't called me that I haven't been willing to help. Now, I'm very selective about who I speak with and who I talk to, because I know the type of person I am. I'm literally like, what would you call it? The Midas touch. I turn everything. Touch turns to gold. There's so many people that you guys see all the time that they will call me. And that's on TV, that's on YouTube. But I keep their secrets. I don't tell their business. You would never know that I knew them. Okay. But I'm there to help them when they need me. I'm there to put them in. This is how I've insulated myself. Here's another one that I have. And a big shout out, Perfect Blackness. He said, your message is on the right track when you have mainstream media open themselves up for suits to say the hit dog's out. That is true. That is, well, yeah, it's been coming. It's been coming. Let me see who else we got in here. Keith. Oh, shout out to Kevin Samuels. Hey, Kevin, always good to have you. He would be powerful, should collect favorite. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what Kevin is saying. The same thing I'm saying. He's saying it his way. So yeah. Also, thank you so much, Kevin, and keep up the good work, Mr. Samuels. The Inquisitive Prince. Who would have thought that some clergy and alphabet community would come together to attack straight black men? I can see attacking separately, but not together. Right. Well, it's a power threat, brother. They don't mind sharing power with each other, but they don't want to share power with you. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so let's get back to the conversation here. So this is how I've insulated myself. Now, the other thing I've done is I've retained people. I got a traffic ticket lawyer on call. I got a criminal defense lawyer, a family law lawyer on call, an entertainment lawyer, another lawyer that actually does my trademarks. All of these people. I got a lawyer in pretty much every country where I am in at any given time, whether it's the Dominican Republic or wherever. What other kind of lawyers I got? Oh man. I got a tax lawyer. I got a malpractice lawyer. These are just the lawyers that I'm dealing with. I have an accountant. I got a bookkeeper. At this point, since I'm beginning, at a certain point when I get a little bit more followers, I'll get a publicist. At the point where I have 100,000 followers, I'll get a publicist. But I've also insulated myself. As you see, this is owned by Esquire Entertainment. As I present to you today, I am an employee of Esquire Entertainment, right? Which is a corporation that, you know, I'm the major shareholder in. And so I'm insulated, right? And here's another thing. I also have my own media outlets. It's nothing for me to, if I need to, put programming together and put it out on the air. So whether it's on my YouTube page or if I have to go back the old school way and go down to the television station and put 20 or 30 racks on their table and say, run this. But that's also part of having a war chest. Here's another thing. I'm still reputable. What does that mean? You don't see me. Okay. A lot of you guys, again, as I said, you'll put your worst face forward. What does that mean? They'll put your worst face forward. They'll take something that you said when you were having a bad day, and they will do what? They'll run with it, right? They'll run with it, and oh my God, now this is something you have to live down. You got to maintain your reputability because they'll take that run. Here's another thing. I also can sever contacts and leave. I have somewhere else to go. There was what was the guy's name? Russell Simmons. He felt the heat coming and he bailed. Where's Russell Simmons now, you guys? Russell Simmons is somewhere in Thailand or something like that. So that's something that you understand. These are the defense. You don't want to leave if you don't have to. Bali, that's exactly right. But that's my initial defense. You see, those are my defenses. And you always want to keep a war chest. Now, the first thing they did with the Black Manosphere is they ignored you. Then they dismissed you. But now they're going to fight you. Now, some people say you'll win. That's not guaranteed. All right, let's begin to assess the different players that you have in the Black Manosphere. You got the known and the unknown. And I just want you to understand, the Black Manosphere, they're not attacking the Black Manosphere solely because of the dating advice that any one man is given. They're attacking you because you're beginning to change people's opinions on God, change people's political opinions, and also it's big money here. They see how much money people like O'Shea Duke Jackson are making. They see how much money like AMS and what's the brothers name? Coach Greg Adams and of course Kevin. They see that. They see Black men making a lot of money. I want you to think about that. What has that initially triggered? What has that always triggered as a response? Black men doing well. Those of you guys who follow my page, most of you guys like the daytime shows because I talk about the trendy stuff, but it's the nighttime shows that really where you get the foundation. We just talked about Red Summer. What do you see in Red Summer? You see a lot of Black men who are well off being hung, being killed because of jealousy. So now you got the internet, it's in their face. They see all these Black men making money. So of course they want to put an end to that. But again, the knowns and the unknowns. A known person would be somebody whose name is out there easily. You could find them, Coach Greg Adams, Kevin Samuels, O'Shea Duke Jackson, Minister Jap, even though I don't know his real name, he's easy to find. But other people, some of the politicals who hide and you don't see their icons, and those are the two categories, right? what's going to happen is the first step is they're going to expose them. And see, the thing about the power of light is this: whether you're a hidden figure, or unknown, or you're a known person, it's easily Google. You can Google them. Exposure, light does something to people. See, when the light is shined on you and you have something to hide, the people that are going to come and destroy you are going to be your employers, your friends, your family. And most of those people who are hiding, who are unknown, and then they get exposed to the light, it's their employers and their friends and their family that are going to cause for them to fall under the weight of their own reputation. You're going to hear about criminal activity. You're going to hear about back child support, all sorts of horrible things. It might just be somebody that went to school with you that said, man, this guy was a chump back in the day, or this girl was a booster back in the day, or whatnot. And that's their reputation. They're going to have to rebound from their reputation. It's hard to judge a person that you only know them by their voice. Many of the people who are hiding themselves, they're clearly not hiding from the FBI or the police or any of these other agencies, because the FBI and the police already know who they are if they wanted to. They're hiding from their friends and family and employers who will expose them for who they are and possibly punish them socially and embarrass them. That's who they're hiding from, you see? And that's not going to work. How do we change? How do we get them to expose themselves? Well, a simple rule change. They did it on Facebook. Identification verification. Force them to use their real names and faces on their YouTube pages. You guys remember that when they did that about 6 or 7 years ago on Facebook? You can kind of have a name, but it has to kind of sound like a real name, but they force you to send an identification, a driver's license or something in like that. You guys remember when they did that on Facebook? And I was like, wow, this is pretty invasive. Is it worth it? But, you know, now you need Facebook. So bam, these guys are going to say, well, I'm making a lot of money on YouTube, so of course I want to do it. A simple rule change will do all that. Here's another way you can be exposed. You get sued. So you decide that you wanted to say something about a certain person, and then that certain person says, okay, we got him, and they file suit against you. Well, even though you're a hidden person, even though you're an unknown, you're just an icon, you got enough people, you're a target. You're making enough money, you got an AdSense account, you got a PayPal account, you got a Cashmo, you got a Vimo, you're making thousands of dollars a month, a year, a month, you're a target. So what I wanted to share with you is what I would do if I decided, let's say we'll just give me a name, a fictitious name of a YouTuber. We'll call them YouTube 50,000. So YouTube 50,000 is going to be our fictitious defendant who I decide to sue because I don't like something he said about me, right? So what do? I simply go over here to Cash App, and I type in Cash App, and then I go to the Wikipedia page, and I learn that Cash App, formerly known as Square Cash, is an English and French company, right? And then I go to Square Incorporated, which is service developed by Square. And then I type in and realize, okay, Square Incorporated is an American financial service and digital payments company based in San Francisco, California. So then what I do is I prepare my lawsuit and I do the one-page subpoena that you can download from any federal court case. And you got all the information you need here. Send that along with their, what did I call them? YouTube 40,000. Here's YouTube 40,000's Cash App link. Send me all this information. You got 15 days to send it. And then I do the same thing with PayPal, which is a San Jose company. And so PayPal and YouTube send me all the information. And then I do the same thing to YouTube, which is also a California company. So through the power of subpoena, I get all this person's personal information along with their bank account information. I get their address that's associated with the bank account, or at least with what they register, because you guys know that if you have an AdSense account, they force you to give them an actual address before you can verify, before you can prove up that this is your account. So I got everything they need, and I don't even have to go through the bank to get it. So I don't have to go through all the banking laws. I don't have to go in front of a judge and explain why it's important, you know, because they don't want to fight. No one wants to fight with a federal subpoena. And so that's how that works. So now I have this person, this YouTube 40,000. I have all this pertinence. He doesn't even know he's been sued yet, or he or she doesn't even know they've been sued yet. I'm gathering all this information. I'm an attorney. I could do it, but I wouldn't even represent myself. I would always hire someone else, but my lawyer would do it, send that off, get that information back, figure out where he lives, serve him, continue getting information on this person. And at that point, just proceed forward with the judgment. But the thing is, now you're exposed. Now you got a YouTuber sued, and who's going to pick that up? Of course, the media is going to pick it up, right? But that's it. And I say all that, and I went off to say this is the way that you YouTubers, even if you got a little small YouTube channel like mine, you know, less than 40 or 50,000, you can be exposed even if you're hiding. We can find you. Anybody who wants to really find you can find you. And then once that happens, we expose you to the public. I pull your criminal record. If you got a PO, I go talk to your PO, you know, get everything I can off from you and then proceed forward. So you can't hide. You're not hiding from anybody just because you don't have an icon. If you got a Cash App, a PayPal account, even with your YouTube account, there's ways we can find out where you are. It's a lot more difficult because they have to go through your VIN number and all that sort of stuff. But if you got a Cash App account, you're connected to the cash. If you're connected to the American banking system in any way, you're found out. Now, what are the categories of individuals that that we are going to have to look for? Well, of course, the first, because so we talked about the ones who speak, the ones who are known, the ones who are unknown. You got your dating gurus, you got your let's classify what sort of gurus. You got your financial guys, you got your dating gurus, you have the more controversial ones, the straight up red pill, all of these different guys, and the politicals. You got the politicals too. So the clergy is going to be your first adversary, and they can come in any different order all the time. They can come all at once, a different order, whatever. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But as we go, the clergy, what they're going to do is they're going to use the Bible. They're going to invoke the name of Jesus and all that is good. Same thing that the preacher did with Minister Japp. Oh, he's a bad person. Protect women. He's calling all women German shepherds. Got it. That's the first thing. They're going to try and demonize you. Then what are they going to try to do? They're going to try to call you evil incarnate. What this is trying to do is sway the public against you, right? They're basically trying to use the power of the pulpit. This is their strength. Their strength is the Bible. So they're going to hit you with their hardest shot. They're going to basically tell you, they're going to tell all of the public before the public really has an opportunity to learn who you are, that, you know, you're the devil. And you're a bad guy, and you're, as Creflo Dollar referred to Kevin Samuel, you're the sign of the end times. This is what they're going to do. Who's going to be next? Well, next you're going to have Hollywood. And when I say Hollywood, I'm also including these pundits. These political pundits are also Hollywood. They're not real newsmen. They're not there they're there for entertainment. So you're looking at political pundits, actors, and entertainers. What are they going to hit you with? They're going to call you misogynist, chauvinist. They're going to call you woman bashers. They're going to call you sexual deviants. These are the sort of things they're going to do. And here's the thing. Even if it's not true, they'll make something up. And they're going to begin to pick the easiest target. So you got a guy with 2,000 followers on his YouTube page And come to find out, he has a pedophile charge or a rape charge or some sexual allegation. He's going to become the face of the Black manosphere. He's an easy target, you see? And so this is what the plan is. And then they're going to lump everybody. They're going to lump somebody like the lead attorney, who's, you know, a brilliant young man. They're going to lump him in with some deranged guy who is weird, you know, and has all this horrible, and all of them are going to compose the face of the manosphere. So they're just going to soil up everybody, right? Everybody together. It's going to be OJ, Bill Cosby, Chris Brown, Bobby Brown, James Brown, Michael Jackson, all lumped in the manosphere, right? And as you guys know, recently, the brother who refers to himself as Brother Polite, he was arrested recently for some charges that some inappropriate behavior with a minor young girl down in Florida. He's going to be a member of the manosphere, Black manosphere, before it's all said and done, even though I don't ever remember it, but he's going to be lumped into the Black manosphere. So all of us are going to be soiled up in that. So that's how they fight that fight. The actors and the entertainers, along with the musicians that follow you, because many of you have, like I remember when the young man Kwame Brown, a couple of months back, he had a big uproar. And, you know, the fact of the matter is he was citing many of the red pill, really many of the Black manosphere talking points, which means he listened for a while. I've heard Shaquille O'Neal mention some rhetoric that's espoused here in the Black manosphere. So you have actors and entertainers that follow the manosphere, and they may know that, oh, that's not true. That's not what we say here, right? That's not what we do. But guess what? They won't be able to, it'll be socially inappropriate to acknowledge the philosophy spoken on the Black manosphere, and they will be punished for doing so. So in other words, if you start saying red pill, oh, well, you're one of those guys, oh my God, you'll be socially punished. As an actor, entertainer, sports figure, they'll be forced to make apologies and apologize. I didn't mean it, you know, I'm sorry, blah, blah. If I offended anybody, you know how that goes. And so it'll make it socially impossible for them to say anything. This is what's going to happen. Now, the final boss, okay, are you guys with me? Because I'm going to give you one more. We've talked about the different categories of clergy, entertainment. The thing is, I need you guys to understand, why are they attacking these? Because you're affecting their bottom line. If you're watching Kevin Samuels at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, you're not at the movies. You're not watching Netflix. You're not watching Disney Plus. You're taking money out of their pocket, okay? If you're not on a date with some woman at 8:30 every Friday buying drinks, you're affecting the entertainment industry, the restaurant industry. If you're not all in love with your girlfriend and taking her on fancy trips, you're affecting the airline industry. This Black manosphere, which is a pungent strain, it's the variant. It's the Black variant of the manosphere, is pungent. Okay, it is communal. It is highly contagious. It is communicable. It is the reason why you got somebody like Kevin Samuels who just blew up like that. You know, even though he's been around for a while, but what he says sticks. He's, you know, we are the Delta variant of the manosphere, the Black manosphere, because people, you know, it's like, ooh, this is what the brothers are doing. So you got white boys listening, Asians. This Black manosphere transcends the entire globe. And so people in Nigeria are listening. I think O'Shea Jackson has a whole nother channel dedicated to his Nigerian or his African following, right? So you're affecting people's pockets, man. You're affecting people's money. And they are not going to allow that to happen. And there's so many other different ways. You're beginning to affect the social, how people interact with each other, how they date, how they entertain themselves. They want that money. They want these people. If they want the money, And if you're making the money, either you're going to move out the way so they can keep making the money, or you're going to come make money for them. This is how this works. So let's continue. So the pundits, all right? The pundits, the politicians, the lawmakers, they will join in with Hollywood. Why? It's the perfect time to do it right now. The country's divided, and so they'll have a common enemy to bring unity to the greater society, right? Somebody will run out and say, we're going to stamp this anti-woman filth out on the internet. We're about protecting women and this misogynistic stuff. We're going to deal with this. I'm running on that. I'm going to propose legislation to do away with it. And they're going to do what? They're going to vilify the black manosphere. Why the black manosphere? The same old enemy. Make the black man the face of whatever is bad and what is ugly. Make him the bad guy. This is what they're going to do. Have we not seen this play out before? Whether you're a Tariq Nasheed or Kevin Samuels or O'Shea Duke Jackson, and even some of the guys, we don't even know who they are. They're going to lump everybody together, right? All one big black Negro, right? And they're going to enact legislation to create an outcome that they want, right? They're going to regulate the business, try to regulate you out of business. And because it's, for one, first of all, is you got too much influence and power. Another thing is too many black men getting rich. And so they need to eliminate that, because white supremacy racism is not so much, it's the finance system. It's the money that keeps it in power. It's the money and the influence. So if you got the money and the influence, what is that? And so my man Wildwood said, Greg Adams is not black manosphere. I get that, but that's not how it's going to be billed, brother. See, a lot of people say, well, he's not part of it. They're not looking into that. They don't care who's particularly part of this. You know that. They don't care. You understand? So they're gonna lump everybody in together, and this is the perfect target. The same old Negro. We're gonna make this Negro, we're gonna make an example of this Negro digitally. This is what we're doing. This is where we are. So what's the response going to be? Well, many of your manosphere pundits with platforms, they're going to disappear and fade away. They're going to disappear because there's too much pressure. They don't have the wherewithal to fight it out. Others they will fight, and they're going to be exposed, and they're going to slither away in embarrassment. All their dirt is going to come out. And what they're going to try to do with the professionals, like myself, an attorney, we got other we got other professors and doctors and who else? Just police officers, whoever's a professional, right? They're going to call them controversial. This controversial police officer from Milwaukee has this YouTube page. He's part of that black manosphere. This controversial lawyer from Houston, he's got that black man. He's one of those black manosphereites. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to punish the professionals, those who have licenses. Right, radical. They'll call you radical, controversial. What else? What are all the other labels? This is what they're going to do, right? Let's see what else. Just the different names to try to, because the professionals are, you'll be blackballed. You won't be able to get a job as a teacher or a professor or anything like that, because you'll be labeled controversial, radical, But the thing is, and so you're going to have to weather the storm. Accountants, right? If you're an accountant, you'll be anybody with a license, right? Because it's a power play. And so you're vulnerable, right? And that's why I talked to you guys about that defense from earlier. And then here's the thing. The rest of us, whoever's left, they're going to co-opt you into the machine. And they're going to make a lot of money. And you're going to make a lot of money. And that's what's going to happen.
So, you know, you might end up, Kevin Samuels might be the next Dr. Phil, you know, if he can weather the storm. O'Shea Duke Jackson might be the next, I don't know, name a pundit. He might be the next Don Lemon, you know, AMS. He might be the next daytime dating coach that people like to watch, depending on how it goes. Lead attorney, he might end up getting himself a talk show or a spot working on a CNN as one of these, you know, pundits or whatever. And so, you know, that's how it works. If you guys don't believe me, right, just look at the history of this country. What happened to the Negro Baseball League? Right? What happened? Right, Dr. Duke Jackson. Yeah, man. You know, so what happened to the Negro baseball? What happened to the football players that initially went to the HBCUs? What happened to all those guys? They take the best and the bright. And I'm not insulting my man O'Shea Duke Jackson. I love O'Shea, man. That's one of my favorite dudes, man. My sons and I listen to O'Shea. Leave O'Shea alone. O'Shea is funny, man. I love O'Shea, man. He brightens my day up, man. So I'm just saying I use the prominent. In other words, they're going to have you replace the Negroes, right? You the new Negroes that people want to watch. They just want to get you from over to their hut where they can make some money. You see what I mean? Some people are going to remain independent, like Tariq Nasheed. He's doing his own thing. That brother is good. You see what I'm saying? That brother is good. He wants to get the museum started. He's like one of our best young historians. As far as I'm concerned, Tariq Nasheed is the modern day Dr. John Henry Clark because he brings history and he brings it alive. So he's going to do his own thing. I just wanted to point that out. But you know, the attacks are coming. The war is coming. Those of you guys who are not ready for this, and then, you know, the political guys on here, and I'm sure there's, you know, a lot of folks here, you're going to have to be able to weather the storm, right? I love to hear from you guys. I love to hear what you guys think about this. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Then that you lost your rocker. You should have had more coffee this morning. Go back to practicing law. I want you guys to hear me. I want to hear you tell me. And, you know, and it's really easy to figure out once you study history, once you know how it's done. You know who to target. Nothing's changed. You have your voice, but there's been time before when we've had our voice. You see? Nothing's changed. What if the level-headed men of the manosphere that share the same macro ideology form a committee on or counter sue for defamation? So what you're basically saying, brother, is you want us to use the system to fight the system. I get it. I understand what you're saying. All right, Steve Anthony said, never compare Tariq to Dr. John Henry Clark. Tariq Nasheed is the modern day Dr. John Henry Clark in the sense that he brings history alive and puts it in your face, and he makes you want to read it. Don't take anything away from Tariq Nasheed. I like Tariq Nasheed, and he is a necessary component. First of all, we don't talk bad about our brothers, and I'm sure Dr. John Henry Clark, if he was alive, he would appreciate the work that Tariq Nasheed is doing. So don't do that. Okay, I appreciate. I got all of his hidden colors is over here, and the one that he did about Haiti. I like Tariq Nasheed, and if you were wise, you would like Tariq Nasheed, and you should let your children listen to his videos. You see what I'm saying? You should do that. My God, it's a beautiful thing to have somebody like that out there. You understand? Somebody who does that work, you know, it's a beautiful thing. You should be proud of that, brother. I'm very proud of him, you know, and so let's not ever, and I know Dr. John Henry Clark, if Tariq Nasheed was here, he said, yeah, he might say it himself, don't compare me to Dr. John Henry Clark. He was an immense giant. I get it, but I can do that as a compliment to Tariq Nasheed for his hard work and his dedication. You know, that's what I'm saying. So I'm proud of him. But Tariq is the type of person, based on what he don't need
he's not going to fall in. He's probably had a chance to fall in, and he's not. But many of these folks here on the manosphere is going to see it as an opportunity, you know. And I understand, but they're going to have to weather the storm first, you see, and they're going to have to come out the other side. So especially the ones who don't have another source of income, who are not making, you know, $800,000-900,000 a year, or $500,000-600,000. Those, they're gonna come in and say, hey, you know, let me I'll work for you, Mr. White Man. You know, some of them will do it. It's just, that's what happens in the machine, you know. But if you guys want to come in and talk to me, the link's in the chat room. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. I know I've spoken for an hour and 36 minutes. Hit the number 1 button. If you appreciate this conversation, please hit the number 1 button. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this conversation. I want to hear that I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. We got this. I want you guys to tell me that, right? I want you guys to tell me I'm wrong, why I'm wrong, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm all off, that I missed something. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the people who disagree. In the meantime, make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Why do I always have to tell y'all to contribute? Why don't you guys contribute more? You come here in the middle of the day, you know, on your lunch break, you know, you got me over here babbling. I spent all this time putting this stuff together for you guys, and, you know, I get nothing. That's terrible. But make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I appreciate it. It lets me know you appreciate what I'm doing here. Go ahead and contribute right now. Go ahead and do it. And we'll let a young brother in here who's a member of the Manosphere. Chaos Rain, welcome, sir. How you doing today?
You know, I'm a man that's don't really affiliate it, but I do respect the information what brothers put out here.
Mm-hmm.
Get me? I'll say one thing, watching the progress of black men in the space of podcast YouTube for the last 3 years, at best, maybe 2.5, that it has changed.
Go ahead.
It has changed the plight of the environment in regards to how we look at mate selection,
Right.
relationships, and it needs to be, because let's be honest, they already said and project only 1 in 4 of the women are going to get married, and now next 4 or 5 years is going to be 1 in 5.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how you play it out, it's not looking good at all, and you're not seeing and figuring out why. Now, most of those in the dates, either coffee or dinner, where you want to spend your money, they're now asking what is the purpose and what you offer. And that's nothing really negative, you know? And women still get in their feelings saying, I can't really answer that, because it lets you know that now, because we are all equal, this is the environment you have to deal with, ladies. This is the things you have to deal with now. We have equal rights and all this stuff that we're in an even playing field. You're going to suffer the same like men. You get me? Men have to do what they need to compete, you know?
Yeah. So do you understand what I'm saying when I explain that the black manosphere, the manosphere altogether has become a problem for society at large, because it's dictating, it's an undercurrent. It's dictating, and it's surfacing, and it's dictating how people should interact with each other, and that's messing with people's pockets. Do you understand how that's? And see, we're not just talking about relationships. What about the political aspect of the manosphere? There's a lot of people saying a lot of different things about who should vote for who and why, and those voices normally would be capped if they had to be filtered through a CNN or MSNBC, but here it's unfiltered, not just on my page but everywhere else. So do you understand why there is a monetary incentive to attack the black manosphere, and specifically the black manosphere, because we make an unsympathetic target? You understand what I'm saying? We're black, right? We're men. That's all it takes here in the good old US of A. What are your thoughts on that?
I think with anything that when money is involved, yeah, there's gonna be pushback and ways.
Well, no, black men making money.
Yeah, men. Oh yeah. Black men especially making money. Yeah, it's a problem. I think there was one saying from a good friend George Macon saying that they wrote an article or wrote a letter saying that the black man should not be making money at all. He should always live in a subservient to the dominant society.
Right.
And he is right on that, because let's think about it. What's the best thing for black men to come up besides every other institution? Entertainment. That's when we hold the stronghold. The minute you get a grip on the entertainment alone, now you diffuse more than 0.5% of the income that's used to keep people divided, keep products and services pushing, because you only can push to a certain demographic to keep the money flow going, the cash flow going, where there's no cash to be flowing. You get me?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kant says that the black manosphere is disruptive to the algorithm. Thank you, D-Score P. Yo, keep doing the work, bro. I'm doing the best I can. I hope, you know, I have a sense about these things. You know, it's, you know, I drafted, I spent 7 years and an entire life embroiled in conflict. And so I've studied conflict from a historical context, from a military context, paperwork, I study conflict and I understand how conflict works. And when I say conflict, I'm not just referring to war. I'm not just talking about physical war with bombs and guns. I'm talking about debates and conflicts, and they have similar, they play out very similarly, you see? And so this is the story of life. This is how we developed on this planet. This is where we are. This is who we are. Human beings will never be able to live in peace because we are naturally prone to conflict. Matter of fact, if you put them in a peaceful utopian place, we would look for chaos. This is who we are. So this is what I think, Devin. But I want somebody to tell me I'm all off. Tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Go ahead, Devin. I can't be right. I want to hear where I'm wrong. That's the way I learn. Devin, what are your thoughts on this thing?
I can't really say you're wrong, brother. You know, the bigger picture, right? That you might not be illustrating is that, for better or for worse, America's never going to be the same. The quote unquote white man is losing America fast between the feminists and the globalists and the Chinese. And in this insecurity, that's why we see not only such an uptick in racist attacks against black men coming from white men, but also from white women and from society, from the LGBTQ and everything. Because remember, we are the most dominant man in the richest and most powerful society in the world. We just have to wake up and realize that this is a very important time to strike for black men. And they realize that. That's why they're preemptively attacking the black manosphere now, because they're afraid of us. They're afraid of us having our own opinion and expressing our own opinion. They know that black men are tired of the BS. We're not going to take the disrespect from our own women. We are fighting back against feminism before the white man has the testicular fortitude to fight back against feminism. So yeah, we're the threat, brother. We're the biggest threat. And they're going to come out against Polite. They're going to come out against Tariq. They're going to come out against the Black American Party and one eventually. But you know, we're in a battle right now, and this is a very important time in American history for the black man to recognize. This is a good time for us to strike, and this is a good time for us to take our rightful place in this country. We just have to stop seeing ourselves as dependent and as victims, and as the solution to our problems being putting our hands out for the white man. We have to get beyond that into a state of independence, and that's what the black manosphere is reaching, is bringing us to.
I think maybe I should, before we leave, I should tell you how you should properly fight with these different how you should differently contest these different aspects, the clergy, Hollywood, the politicians. I think I should probably go into that. Otherwise, people might feel like, what do we do now?
Solution.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a solution. It's the best tactics in which to fight against these people. But we are here. How you doing?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good.
Can you hear me?
I can hear. Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeffrey Williams. He says they tried this with early hip hop artists back in the day, and they ended up shining even brighter. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing. Much respect. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Williams. The Mac said there's a Black Manosphere magazine on Amazon. It's good. Yeah, it's getting there. It's already mainstream, and so you guys have to prepare for the attacks. And this is to the creators and whoever else. But go ahead, Sheet. What are your thoughts on this? Anybody else who wants to join in, go ahead and join in.
The crazy part is I always look at the Black Manosphere as being like Fight Club. The rule in Fight Club is never talk about Fight Club, but how many members grew into Fight Club. And the more... But
you see what happened, though? You see, I don't know if you were here earlier, but this is what happened. First came, this is what happens. First came the women who were appalled by the rhetoric. And then once they realized they couldn't win, then they sent in the men who, you guys categorize them as simps, manginas, white knights, girl dads, Captain Saber 304s, male attack drones, right? And then that failed. And so who do we send next? Well, now you send who? Now you send the clergy, and then you send who? You send the entertainers and the actors, and then after that, the pundits and the politicians, because they have got to maintain this society as it is for them to continue benefiting, right? So this is what you're dealing with. But go ahead. You're messing up their money. But go ahead, Sheed, and then we're going to go to... But that's how it happened. It was going to happen. It had to happen. Go ahead.
And another name I add on there, I call them sister brothers.
Well, yeah, but all it falls in with what we got there,
Yeah, but
go ahead, bro.
Yeah, but when it come down to it, man, somebody's echoing. Okay, the Manosphere got a big voice, man. Like you said about the politics, a lot of men are start.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, the younger men are already starting to figure out disease and they're learning that they're not going to make mistakes that we've made working with women, dealing with women. I tell guys, I've been married for 15 years. I tell guys I married a baby mama. My thing of it was a Jamaican woman. I didn't go ADOS, SYSB or passport, whatever they call it. I was looking for a good woman at the end of the day. And when it come down to it,
okay, because let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you now. I was here last night for 3.5 hours, and so we want to kind of stay on the topic here, and that is the Black Manosphere being under attack. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's going to that.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much. We're gonna go to Yoga. Yoga, it's always good to have you. Here's the thing, man. When you got politicians who are looking at, they don't know where these political ideas are coming from. Look at that whole tangibles 2020 thing that popped up. They couldn't galvanize the Democratic Party like they wanted to because they had, these ideas coming from YouTube, these ideas coming from black men on YouTube. And whether people want to admit it or not, if you're a black man on YouTube, you are part of the Black Manosphere, period. You can't escape it. But go ahead, Yoga.
And that's you pointed it out.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
You pointed it out, Attorney Dennis Sperling. We're seeing the new revolution in the information age. This is the first wave of black man revolution in the information age. We're doing it in a way we've always done it historically. We are using our creativity, like Brother Tariq Nasheed using his creativity with the movies. Brother Kevin Samuels using his creativity with image. Those are just examples. And so what's happening is our creativity is not controlled by them. And so we're controlling the narrative of the new art that we're creating. This is the new hip hop right here. So we got to look at it the same way.
It's not controlled, and they don't benefit monetarily from it.
Exactly. So we got to look at it just like when hip hop hit, it was a new message. So we're the new message. And what's going to happen is they're going to do, I look at it how they do it as hip hop. They're going to ostracize it, keep you out of certain clubs, talk about you in the media. And then what they're doing is they're developing a system how they can co-opt our message, our new message, the same way. So I think it's going to be very imperative that you do show ways of how to fight back illegally on these different stages of the attack. We see Brother Kwame Brown, they're in like the fourth wave of attacking him with all these same different unfolding ways of attacking us. Now, where this is showing the younger brothers in your 20s and in your teens, you're going to have to prepare for the future to be doing business with yourself, because they're going to try to lock us out of this economy if we're going to control our own narrative. So this is going to, all these brothers out here, be prepared to get your businesses in order to serve your other brothers, because we're going to need each other in business.
Okay, Yoga, I want to kind of stay on what we're dealing with here, and that's the attack
on the wave of the attacks.
Yeah, because like I was hoping
we're affecting the bottom line. We're starting to affect the United States GDP. And when we start to affect the GDP shows up and the political and economic analysis, then they're saying who's influencing that? Tariq Nasheed, a couple brothers, a lot of other brothers started talking about this Trump campaign, and we start swinging our votes.
Okay, this has been demonetized, you guys. We've been demonetized. Okay, so if you want to contribute to what I'm doing here, make sure you make sure you just contribute to the super chat. I mean, to the Cash App. This has been demonetized. It's a controversial subject. You know, this is the first time I've had one demonetized, so that lets you know I'm hitting home. If you guys would like to, I want to go to Adonis next. I just want to. Okay, let me try to go to Let me try to go to Adonis, please, and because I want to get everybody in. Adonis, 1909. What would you like to add to this conversation?
How's it going, Mr. Sperling? Everybody, how y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Appreciate you having me on. But
yeah, go ahead.
To be honest, I would like to. Painfully, I can't disagree with you. Cannot disagree with you on what you said. Yeah. And what I personally think, to be honest, we're still individualized as a community in a manosphere. We're still all about self and not about community. There are very few of us that talk about community, because united, we are strong, but we're too separate, and that's how we're set up. We don't necessarily have.
Well, see, brother, I'm going to disagree with you on that strategy.
All right.
But go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say, but I wanted you to kind of.
Okay.
But hours, and I got to pick my kids up from school.
I got you. To finish what I was trying to say was, because we don't necessarily have like a group of individuals or more or less gentlemen that all share the same view, we can't more or less protect ourselves or filter out the ones that could damage what we're trying to do.
All right, so let me tell you how this works. You don't want to have a single unified group with a leader, because if you have a single unified group with a leader in this particular sort of organization, they'll take the leader out. They'll smear the leader. You want to have individual camps. Like, let's say I see Mr. Kevin Samuels is in here. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. I'm a big fan of his, by the way. And if you guys don't know, it's because of Kevin Samuels' group, The Mix, that I met my fiance. And so, you know, I don't know. That's the sort of, those are the sort of stories that need to be put out there. But if I were advising Kevin Samuels, I would say to him, you need to have, first of all, you need to get a publisher. You need to get a publisher. Every time something like this pops up in the press, you need to have your publisher issue a statement on either your YouTube channel or your Instagram. I think you could just screenshot something and you begin to combat that. And then what you do is, at some point, you begin to develop certain relationships with the power players who are already in play. There are different lawyers. There are different lawyers. There's a lawyer for everything. There's a lawyer in every city that everybody knows. I know that lawyer here that deals with all the entertainment folks. I've referred him out to a couple of different people. But the bottom line is, he's the one that says, hey, this is my guy, leave him alone. So you won't hear any more newspaper articles from the New York Times, or not New York Times, who was it, the New York Post or Newsweek, because they know that's your guy. And so basically you're letting them know, you're sending up smoke signals saying, hey, we're not the one, we're ready to fight you. And that's going to make them back down. But as long as you are in a situation where you're an easy target, you're not surrounded, you're not insulated, you don't have any defenses up, then you're going to be a problem. But you need to surround yourself with your group, with your people. Because what's happening is either two things are going to happen. You're either going to be conformed or you're going to be destroyed. They're either going to make you conform into the system or they're going to destroy you. This is what we're looking at, okay? And so because that's just how the system works. It's going to consume you and you're going to work for the system. You can say whatever you want to say and they really don't care to a certain point, but you're going to make them money. If you're going to be on this system, you're going to make them money. YouTube is already the vehicle that folks are using to make money. YouTube is a system. YouTube makes money. I believe they take a third of everything you earn. So they're making money, but now they're going to, well, we can make more money because that money that you're making, YouTube, that's money coming away from CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, dating coaches, restaurants, movie theaters, the football games. They're watching. Who are they doing? We're watching YouTube as opposed to watching Monday Night Football. This is what we're dealing with, folks. And so this is a money grab. I don't want you guys to mistake for 1 minute that this has nothing to do. This is all about money. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars being generated on YouTube every day. And the quick, easy target is always the Black American man. But you have to insulate yourself. You have to have the proper people in place. You have to have your players on the board. You have to be able to do that. You can't just continue fighting this thing naked. You got to set your people up. You got to know. You got to know it's coming, and that's kind of thing. But if I was to speak generally, the way you deal with the clergy is recognize that they're going to hit you in the Bible. They're going to hit you with their Bible. So what you want to do is anticipate that you hit them in the strength. It shouldn't necessarily be you doing it, but you should definitely have other members of the clergy who you've befriended, who know you, who can then begin to speak up on your behalf. That's going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you $5,000 or $10,000 to this church or that church or these churches. You're going to have to go do speaking engagements at different places. You're going to have to send money. I know you guys are like, why would I do that? This is the game, right? You got to pay these people. I'm a pragmatist. You see, I understand. Do you want to win the war or not? Do you want to win the war and on the other side you be rich and famous and have money, or do you not? This is what you're going to have to deal with. You're going to have to get fire to fight fire. You're going to have to get the Bible thumpers on your side to fight the Bible thumpers on the other side. This is what we're going to do. Okay. As far as the Hollywood folks and the pundits, you get your people to beat them down. If you got 100,000 followers, you got 1 million followers, you get your people to cancel them. You fight them the way they're trying to fight you. You make it practically, you make it uncomfortable for them to fight against you. So you're the one that they just have to leave alone. As far as the politicians, they can be bought. They can be bought. That's not you want to buy them, let me know, give me a call. You know, we'll take care of that aspect. But you can get them off of YouTube, right? It's going to cost, everything costs, but it's the cost of doing business, fellas, you know, and it's time for members of the Black Manosphere to recognize that this is what you have to do if you want to continue doing business. They're not going to let you just operate in the United States and make money and continue making money and taking the consumer's money away from money they would normally spend with their businesses on your business. They're not going to allow it to continue to happen without a fight. So you got to pay. And I know a lot of guys are like, well, I'm just doing my channel. Yeah, you got to pay, period. There's a lot more I would tell you in detail, and each specific situation is a little different. But the bigger you are, the more you got to pay, period. You pay for protection. You pay for friends. It is what it is. Spread it around. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, man, make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I'm gonna let chaos reign, and Devin, you guys are the last ones. I guess all this talking ran everybody away. I hope I haven't bored you all to death. Kevin, I'm sorry, Chaos, what do you got to say? What else would you add?
To wrap this up, because I'm here listening and taking notes, that it's going to come to a point that black men has to be organized, and they're going to have to probably put in their money. I remember the old man was talking about this a year ago, and a lot of men kind of pushed back. But as you get bigger, you're going to have no choice if you're really serious about this.
Yeah, but let me point out, because I don't want there to be misunderstanding. You don't need to get some union of manosphere guys, right? You don't need a president and a vice president. You don't need unity. You need your own team to protect you. You are the personality. You are the commodity. You are your own individual corporation, and you need to begin to treat yourself like that. This is your brand. You've created it, and you have to protect it. And you have to know the people. The people who your people have to be beholden to you for whatever reason, whether you pay them, whether you help them get a position. I'm just telling you, we don't need a union, because what happens with a union, somebody else will come in and take over the union. Look at the Black Panther Party. We had too much leadership structure. And then they sent on some white girls and some drugs, and next thing you know, everybody went to jail for 100 years. You don't need that right now. You're good. It's better in a war like this, in a conflict like this, it's better to use guerrilla tactics, isolated individual cells, if you want to call it. You see what I mean? You got the O'Shea Duke Jackson cell and the Obsidian cell. You see what I'm saying? Obsidian's got his lawyers and his people and his publicists, and O'Shea Duke Jackson has his, and everybody, you all know each other, but you work independently and autonomously on your own for what's in your best interest. And so that way they can't lump all of you together. I'm just giving you a bit. Don't be a sitting target. Don't be a battleship. It's better don't be a battleship, because they'll plot that out and you'll be at the bottom of the ocean. But either way, Chaos Reign, thank you so much.
All right, I'm gone then, Uncle D, till next time.
Okay, man. Always good having you in here. Devin Lockett, what are your thoughts on this thing, man?
Yeah, man, you're making some really good points, brother. We need to be scattered in our own individual camps, but our camps need to be fortified.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you talking. You understand what that's military? Yeah, I get. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'm waking up to what you're saying. Because with the Black American Party, I was thinking, yeah, let's unify. Let's unify, because there are women, there are sisters that actually agree with us. There are sisters who actually agree in a common sense approach to Black relationships and Black families. But at the same time, man, I don't want to be the only one out there either. I want us to make the shift from charismatic leadership into structural leadership. That's what I'm trying to set up with the Black American Party.
And that's good. That's a political party. I'm of the opinion you just buy somebody else's party. I don't really believe in starting anything new. If they're in place already, all I want you to do is what I say do when I tell you to do it. Now, how much is that going to cost? Yeah. Period. I gave an example yesterday. It costs $30,000 to run a campaign for a district court judge here in Houston.
I didn't know it was that cheap, man. That's good.
I'm telling you, for the price of a couple of those Kanye shoes, now imagine if you got all 10 of them.
And as powerful as a judge is, as if you're doing business in any town, you need to have at least a couple of judges.
And judges are pretty expensive as far as campaign. So councilmen, it's less. $5,000-$10,000. You get, hey, look, man, how you doing? What's up? I plant my own seeds on my own, and I keep things pretty quiet. Nobody knows me. Y'all think I'm just this happy-go-lucky guy who, goes to the Dominican Republic and plays with my kids and stuff on TV. That's it. And I like it like that. But the thing is, you have to, and I'm harmless because I have no intention of running for a political party. I'm going to do my little law practice. At some point in the next 10 years, I'm going to move overseas and enjoy my money and raise my 2 little girls that my fiance plans on giving me. By the way, the only reason I'm getting married, y'all, is because I got 3 boys and no girls. And these boys have already promised me that they leaving. I can guarantee you I got one son. He's 14. I expect him to be on the top of a mountain somewhere in Tibet inside of 10 years. This other one said he's moving to Miami to become a back doctor and probably drive a McLaren. So I'm not going to see him or the other one. So, and then the other one, he's in Jamaica on the beach somewhere. So, you know, I mean, I'm going to be by myself. So I'd like to have some girl children because I hear girls are nice and I want to raise them in the country where it's still patriarchal. So I'm not necessarily going to be here. I tell you guys all the time, soak all this up while you can. And the reason I'm running so much stuff is because Uncle D is not enough money to keep me here. Some people, money. See, the thing is, people say, well, some people can't be bought because I've had everything that I wanted to have. You know, I've had the villas. I've had 10 women in the swimming pool. One time I had like 6 cars. I didn't even drive all those cars. Uber came out. I used to drive. I had a Bentley that just would sit in the yard. And money doesn't really do that for me anymore. And so what I want to try to do is try to help you black men get to a point where you can come take my place. I want you black men to see the world as yours for the taking, as to experiencing it as a person who is a victim. You know, I want you to realize that you're the conquerors and not the conquered. And when you develop that sort of mindset, things will be clearer to you. I see things as a conqueror. A lot of you see things as the conquered. You don't think there's anything you can do about it. And so you don't even bother to ask, how much does it cost to run your campaign? Oh, $30,000, and that just blows out everybody up. Oh, so it's only $30,000 to put, okay, so I got you. Okay, so how much for a councilman? Well, you know, we got 15 councilmen, and it usually costs about $10,000 for that campaign. Oh, really? Well, let me come up with $150,000 between me and some guys over here. And so now what have you just done? You see, you got the judges and the councilmen. Only thing left after that is the mayor, you know, and the sheriff. And so now you got the political structure. I don't care if they're Republican, Green Party, Democrat, Independent Party, as long as they know my name and they're willing to help me when I ask for help. And they know that there's a punishment mechanism that goes along with that. And for years, I'm going to pay for your opponent to win or beat you. And I might give them twice as much as I gave you. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what their party is. This is what you do, you see? And that would be something I would advise some of the manosphere folks, especially in your area. Get heavily involved in the movers and shakers, whether it's the preachers or the politicians. And again, you know, we can talk, but either way, anybody who wants to have a private conversation with me, man, you can email me at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. I've been on here about 2 hours. I've promised my kids and my fiance that I wouldn't be on here too much longer after a certain time period, because, you know, I try to do it at 1.5 hours, but we always end up going over. Thank you, guys. I appreciate this. I hope you all appreciate what I've done. I want to give a shout out to everybody who contribute to the cash out. Shout out to my man Lucifer Ratzinger. Lucifer, the devil is doing the Lord's work. John W. Adonis, Truth, the Truth, Trave the Truth. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you guys. I think I saw my man Volcanus in here earlier. Jaquez, Adon. It's so many people. Wildwood. Thank you guys so much. Who else we got in here? Yeah, you guys be cool, man. But other than that, and big shout out to Kevin Samuels. And I'm so proud of all you guys. I appreciate all the work that you guys do. And I just want to see you guys continue to be able to speak freely for as long as possible. My man E40 said, those of you guys who know E40, he said, getting while the getting is good, you know, all roads come to an end. So, you know, just prepare, fellas. You know, some of you guys just stumbled upon this thing and you're making a lot of money and you're having a lot of influence. And maybe you don't know exactly how valuable you are, but there are people like myself who in 2014 discovered you, whether you BGS, Obsidian, some of the guys from the White Manosphere, and Barbarossa. Who would have known back 10 years ago that the Manosphere would be a $100 million business, you know, in 10 years. Nobody knew. But you have to protect yourself. You have to understand that there's a threat out there. And next week, it might be, instead of saying, Dear Black Manosphere, Hollywood attack dogs are coming, it's Dear Black Manosphere, the Democratic attack dogs are coming, or the Republican attack dogs are coming, or you know, the NFL attack dogs are coming. You know, bottom line is, understand that you're gaining ground, and you're taking ground from somebody else who's inhabited that ground. That ground being the minds and of the American public. And so, you know, that's how this society continues to go forward. So they want to keep that control. They don't want you to have that control. But either way, I appreciate you guys. It's been a great conversation. Thank you so much. We got 238 people in the chat room. We got 256 likes. I didn't have to say that one time. You got to appreciate what I'm doing. Hit the #1 button. Let me know you guys appreciate it. Hit the #1 button for all these great guys in the Black Manosphere. Kevin Samuels, O'Shea Duke Jackson, AMS. Name your favorite guy that you love. Coach O'Shea, Coach Greg Adams. Who else we got in here? All these guys, they're the superstars right now. They're the hottest things out right now. Who else? Name the rest of them. Obsidian, BGS Ibmore, all those great minds. Of course, all the doctors, Dr. Ronald Neal, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, who else? G with the PhD, Angry Man. I have to listen to Angry Man. I've never heard of this Angry Man. I've heard of Angry MGTOW, but I don't know all these other folks. But yeah, just give them a shout out, man. And just tell them Uncle D said what's up. Lead attorney, just tell them I said what's going on. And the last thing you guys need to be doing is fighting with each other right now. That's one thing I will say before I leave. All this internet beef, all this YouTube beef, all your adversary is going to do is come in and utilize that as a means to destroy you. They'll turn one against the other, and then they'll capitalize that. Now, we've helped you. Shout out to Sandman. We've helped you, and now you're beholden to us. Black Ram 313, I've heard of him before. Black Ram 313. Yeah, man. But they'll use that. They'll exploit that conflict, and then that'll be their inroads. So whatever beef you all have with each other, and I know from time to time tempers flare, but focus on the money. You know, make the money. There's no money in the beef. You know, make the money. Okay, get all the money you can, because at some point it's going to be over. So make all the money you can now. And then at the point where you got the money, oh, shout out to Roger Report. That's one of my guys too. I appreciate it. Of course, Donovan Sharp. I don't know, name the rest of them, guys. And then, but make the money. Don't, that conflict, that YouTube conflict, the threats being passed back and forth, all that's going to be exploited. Mr. Palmer, shout out to him. That will be exploited, and they will use that against you. Okay, they will use that against you. And it'll be made into something that it's not supposed to be. So my suggestion is you figure out a way to end the conflict, whatever beef you have, because shout out, yeah, Officer Faulkner, whatever beef or conflict you might have with your fellow Black Manosphere platform holder, you should end that, because if you don't, it'll be exploited. You make yourself vulnerable when you're fighting your adversary. You got two rams fighting each other on the, out there on the Serengeti, and then the lion sneaks up behind and captures one and kills one. That's how that works. You're so distracted fighting each other, you don't see the real enemy coming who wants to consume you. And so this is my suggestion to you guys. Just, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here making suggestions. I'm your advocate, but I'm also teaching you how to advocate on behalf of yourselves. But other than that, man, this is Uncle D. I love you guys. I appreciate it. This has been cool, nice, calm day. Other than that, man, this is Uncle D, and as I always say at this time, I'm out.